So we have recently gotten some pretty big reveals about this upcoming black and white set that is going to be released after Deaths and Rivals. And I wanted to talk about this set because I've seen some of the reveals and honestly it looks pretty good. So I wanted to hear your guys' opinions down in the comments below. What do you think about this set? And I also want to talk about here, will this possibly continue the hype of this market? Because I've talked about it a lot. This market really started with Surging Sparks, and when Surging Sparks, we knew about that set. There was a lot of other sets we also knew were going to come after that. We knew that there was going to be an Eevee set, we knew there was going to be a Trainer set, a Team Rocket set, and for the foreseeable future, the market seemed to be super strong, right? And now that we're coming up on Deaths and Rivals, we're almost there, and we know what the cards are inside of there. It seems like that was sort of the end point, right? Destin Rivals, that was what's hyped up, and we've gotten all the reveals, and there was some, negativity around the set, and it seems like, what, if Destin Rivals doesn't perform extremely well, will this be the point of downturn in the market? We have recently, seen more restocks, some reprints, that are happening. We've seen somewhat of some pullback of the modern market, and if Destin Rivals, doesn't perform extremely well. I've talked about it. Maybe this could be the start of the downturn in the market. But we've recently gotten some reveals of the black and white set, which is going to be a specialty set that's going to be released after Deaths and Rivals. I think it's going to be released in July or something. I think in July. I could be wrong. I'll check here in this post. But based on the reveals, the artworks, in my opinion, look really clean. And there's this new rarity / art concept they're coming out with. And I think I'm a fan of it. I haven't seen them in person. It's going to be obviously kind of hard to tell based on the photo, but it looks pretty good. Now, when I started even, dabbling into Pokemon, it was towards the tail end of Black and White when I was a lot younger. I was really into Pokemon during the XY period. That was when I was really into it, but I kind of got into Pokemon towards the end of Black and White. So some of these Pokemon I'm pretty familiar with. So I guess I could resonate a little bit with black and white, but definitely I was more on the tail end and that was a while ago. But I wanted to, talk about what has been revealed so far in this set, and I wanted to hear your opinions about the cards because honestly, like I said, from what I've seen, I'm not trying to hype things up, but personally with me, I'm a fan. I've talked about it before where, this being a black and white themed set, maybe it won't get as much attention as some other sets previously because black and white, I don't know if it's the most popular, era, or if I think it's the Unova region, whatever. I'm not too much into the lore, but what I've heard from other people that it's not the most popular thing ever, but the artworks look amazing. So I think regardless, and there are popular Pokemon in this, era, I think it can still perform extremely well. And just by looking at the artworks, I really think possibly this could maybe continue the hype. We'll have to see pull rates, what's the rarities in the set, how many of IRs, SARs, all those sorts of things to really know. But just looking at the cards that have been revealed so far, I do like them. So let's just look at a little bit of the information about the set that we do know. So there was this post a few days ago talking about this set. So as you can see here, black bolt and white flare were just revealed seconds ago at Japan's Champions League tournament. As posted last November, the dual sets will release on June 6th in Japan and feature all 156 Unova Pokemon. The sets are clearly meant to be the Generation 5 version of Pokemon Card 151. So it's, just another special set. And I guess this time they're doing it for, the Unova region. So there's just some basic cards, whatever. But here's like the main stuff, okay? So here's some reveals. Obviously, there's going to be more, and it says something very interesting here that I wanted to point out. All 156 Unova Pokemon will get an illustration rare or special illustration rare in this set. That seems pretty insane, right? All 156 will get an illustration rare or special illustration rare. That's crazy to think about for a set, right? They're all going to be either IRs or SARs. That's a crazy concept. And if that is true, and I'm reading this right, I think this set could go insane because, we all know that the collectors like valueless cards and everything to be cheap. Well, if this set is fully IRs and SARs, I think this set will go crazy because all the collectors will be like, every single pack, you're going to get IRs and SARs. So I think if that's really what this set is, It's gonna go pretty crazy. And if they're bringing that concept in here, where literally all the cards are just IRs or SARs, like I think even though this may not be like a 151 type of set where it's like Gen 1 stuff, I mean, just look at these, artworks. And if that, thing is true with the, all the rarities, like IRs and SRs being the set, I think it's going to be pretty crazy. Like, look at these artworks here. They're really nice. And, I know maybe some of these are not the most popular Pokemon ever, right? Not maybe some that people really resonate with, but I just think the artworks for what they are really nice and clean. I especially like the Snivy. I like just honestly all of them are really nice. The Oshawott cool. They're just really clean artworks. There's some artworks that have been criticized previously for being like a little bit too much. Like for example, the evolutions from Prismatic Evolution. Some people don't really like the sort of like I don't know stained glass sort of look, but a lot of people seemingly like these types of artworks. I've noticed, and I just think they all look really amazing. So I just think based on this, these are obviously the starters. If it's true with what they're saying here with the the rarity thing, I think it's gonna get pretty crazy for this set, just in my opinion. Now, I guess some other stuff about the Japanese side for packs. No one really cares because we're talking about English here. So they are gonna return the horizontal hollow pattern they used to do back then. Here's some other stuff with the Japanese side. There's this promo, whatever, and it says, okay, it is going to be released July 18th. So that's, I guess, the date. So what is that, like a month and a half after Death and Rivals? Like that's like a month and a half is kind of crazy. Like in between sets, like I think it's super short. But maybe it could be a good thing in terms of like if pushing this market maybe further, and the hype will continue. If Destined Rivals somehow is some of a bust, if this comes out shortly after, could bring hype back. It is getting released during the summer, which everyone knows. Like there's this I guess statistical or historical knowledge that during the summer sales slow down. But hey, if there's this type of crazy set coming out, maybe it'll drive demand. Who knows? But yeah, that's what we know so far. I think there's a little bit more here that I'm going to show. But that's like the main stuff. Just looking at these cards and seeing this being said, I think it's going to be an amazing set. And just by looking at this and the artworks they're bringing. I think there's one more thing, like the other new rarity slash artwork they're doing that I'm going to show in this next post. But let's just read some of the comments from this post. Kids had their fun with their TR, which I think is... What does that stand for? TR? I can't think right now. It stands for something, but now it's real men's turn. I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of cringe, but okay. But 167 number for Superior Secret Rare is such a crazy number for a dual set. We truly will get an AR, SAR for every single Pokemon. That's quite insane, making up for the fact that last high class set had 0 ARs. Okay. Just, yes, they like it. I guess they like this. Weird vibes. Pocket set, but a physical one. So I guess they're comparing maybe the artworks. And this person's commenting also on the 156 ARs and SARs. Hope the pull rates won't be hard. Okay, well, if they're all ARs and SARs, I mean, I guess you could argue that SARs might be hard to pull, but I mean, the ARs obviously are not going to be hard to pull. Please make sure people are less hyped for the set. Bleep, the cards look good. So 2 to 3 AR per pack sounds good, right? Weird to see only superior get an EX. Okay, whatever. These are the best sets ever. The fans are getting it all. An AR, SAR for every Pokemon. Insane. So maybe I'm reading that wrong. Maybe it means that there's going to be that many. There might be just some basic cards as well. So maybe I'll maybe reading that a little bit wrong. So, okay, we'll just go to the next post here because there's not really much here. So I'm going to scroll down. I think there's just one thing I wanted to show on this post. So here it is. These are the cards that are coming out that I think, honestly, like I haven't seen them in person, but just looking at the texture, I think they're going to look pretty insane. So Secret Rares of Reshiram EX and Zekrom EX were also revealed. They have a new rarity named BWR, which this presumably stands for black and white rare, referencing the monochromatic coloring of the cards. Now, I feel like they're sort of bringing this concept back of like, I don't know. This reminds me of like legendary treasures, like the gold cards, sort of. Except obviously these are not gold. But it sort of reminds me of that for some reason. I don't know if it's maybe the texture I'm seeing. But yeah, they look. Obviously, I haven't seen them in person, but just looking at the cards, they look pretty nice. I think in person, if they're textured like super heavily, it's going to be, I think, a pretty crazy card. And if it's really hard to pull, that's definitely going to be the pretty strong chase cards in this set. And yeah, just adding also the factor of the 156 special illustration rares and illustration rares, this set is going to be pretty insane. So let's read some comments and we'll go see, I guess, some of the Reddit posts that I saw from this reveal and see other people's opinions. Let's not hype this up and pretend it's garbage for the collector's sake. Good lord, these are some spicy reprints slash retrains. You know that 151 has some UPC stuff. Looks like we already know the promos for our Unova subset. It's just the cheap version of 151. They had no inspiration, so they decided to make another set of all Pokemon from a gen. I mean, does it really matter though? I mean, if it's a good set and there's good artworks, I mean, why are we complaining here, right? Yeah, wouldn't want them to repeat a good idea. More slop, please. So I guess exactly kind of what I said. Like, yeah, why would you complain if it's good, right? Cheap, yeah, I think the commissioning artists for 24 ARs is basically the same as 156. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. 156 is really crazy. Whatever you do, people, don't FOMO. Okay? And that's kind of it. But I just mainly wanted to show from this post this artwork, this new rarity, which I think is going to be pretty crazy. And especially if it's really difficult to pull, that the card values for these are probably going to be pretty high. So just to do a little bit of a, I guess, overview of the cards that are going to be in this set that have been revealed, just on Justin Basil, because it's a little bit cleaner of a look. You guys can see here. What do you think about the artwork so far? You think they're pretty good? There's the only SAR, I guess, that's been revealed so far, so Superior. And here are the other cards. I think these, I'm just looking at the texture. It looks like it's going to be textured really heavily, and I don't know. Are you guys a fan of this or not? I personally like it. I think it's going to be cool. And like I said, depending on how hard the rarity is to pull, it might be pretty expensive. Now, lastly, just going to see some, I guess, opinions on the Pokemon TCG subreddit. This person says that, holy moly, this is insane. And we'll just read some of the comments. The fact that the holos in the set are going to have the horizontal holo pattern is such a cool detail. Can't wait to see what the rest looks like. They really have to print this to oblivion. I mean, really oblivion. They should postpone the set after this so they can print this more. Demand will be insane. So another person saying to print everything oblivion. I mean, we've heard it a million times now, right? 156 IR cards in 2 sets. Am I understanding that correctly? Yep. That's what I was hoping they would do for 151. Pull rates will have to be high if they're doing this many. They'll end up being the Crown Zenith of Scarlet and Violet easily, which means 99% of people are never going to even sniff a pack, but what's new? They said that about Crown Zenith too, but Crown Zenith was in shelves even 5 months ago. Nobody wanted them before the prismatic craze started. So, the pull rates being high, I'm pretty sure if you look at prismatic, right, and what they did, having 33 SARs and no IRs, like, I guess I would honestly, out of all like the sets, I feel like this would probably be the set that has the best argument that they'd probably make the pull rates easier just based on how they're doing. Like 156 IRs and SRs is a ton, so I don't think pull rates for this set, at least for the IRs, are not going to be obviously that crazy if there's 156 of those combined with SARs. But I really do wonder if the SARs, how hard they are going to be, how hard it'd be to pull compared to like prismatic. But we will have to see. Goodbye wallet. I really hope I actually get to open this. I need that Victini. Throwback to black and white era holo too. So yeah, that's basically it. So what do you guys think about this new set? It's going to be a specialty set that's coming out after Destined Rivals. Do you think it will continue the Pokemon bull market if Destined Rivals doesn't, I guess, live up to the hype? Or do you think this is not going to be a super popular thing, and why? And that's all I want to say. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.